Hello my lovelies, it's Susanna, and today I want to show you how to multiply complex numbers. We're going to take a look at these three examples together, so let's start with the first one. Determine the product of the complex numbers z1 and z2 in the form a plus bi. These are our two numbers, z1 and z2, and we have to find the product of these two numbers and write the result then in this form. This a plus bi form is the algebraic form of a complex number. You have a part here without the I, and then you have a part here with this I. This is the imaginary unit. We can see that I is in here as well. So this is also this algebraic form of a complex number. Our first number doesn't have an I, but that just means that the part here at the end, the b, is 0. So we only have this a part, this real part in here. There is nothing with an I. So this actually is even a real number, right? A normal number we're used to, but this is a complex number where we have this imaginary part here. Okay, let's multiply these two numbers. So we take z1 and multiply it by z2. z1 is just the 3. We insert 3 in here. And z2 looks like this. We take this whole thing and write it in parentheses because we want to multiply this whole thing by our 3. And now this is just the normal process of getting rid of these parentheses. We just multiply these parentheses by the 3. So we multiply each element in here by the 3. So we have 3 times -4, which gives us -12. And then we have the plus, and we have 3 times 8i, which is 3 times 8 is 24, and then we add the I. Like we're used to working with numbers and variables. You just treat the I as a variable. And actually for the first example, this is it, because now we are in this algebraic form. We have a part with our I in here. We have a number here that is our A. So if we compare it, then we have this plus, and the B is our 24, and then we have the I. So this is already the result. We just multiplied these two numbers and simplified a little bit, and then we already have our product here. Let's take a look at the second example. We shall determine the product of the complex numbers z1 and z2. This time there is an I in here, so this time this is a complex number. And here we also have an I in here, so this is a complex number as well. Let's multiply these two. We have -4i, and we want to multiply this by this complex number, so we write it in parentheses because here we have this 5 minus 2i, and we want to make sure that everything of this number is going to be multiplied by this element here. So to get rid of the parentheses, we multiply each element of the parentheses by our -4i. So we have -4i times 5, which gives us -20i. And then we have -4i times -2i. So minus times minus gives us a plus. Then the numbers 4 times 2 equals 8. And then the I times I equals I squared. Is this our result now? Is this algebraic form that we have worked with, where we have a part with I? Well, we have a part with I, and then just a number. Well, we have an I squared in here. Is that okay? No, it's not. We have to get rid of this I squared. Nothing in here says I squared. But the good thing is that I squared just always equals -1. So as soon as you find an I squared somewhere, you can always replace this by a -1. And this is what we're going to do here as well. We have the negative 20i, which is okay. And then we have plus 8 times I squared. So 8 times, and instead of the I squared, we are going to write our negative 1. So we have our negative 1 here. And now we just simplify this a little bit. We have the negative 20i at the beginning, and plus 8 times negative 1 equals negative 8. And this is the algebraic form, although here the I part is at the beginning, and usually you want to have the I part at the end. So we just switch these two so that we have the real part, the negative 8 at the beginning, and then the imaginary part with the I at the end. So we have negative 20i here, and this is the perfect form of this algebraic form of a complex number. Last example, we still want to find the product of our two complex numbers, and this time both numbers have a real part and an imaginary part. But the process is the same. We want to multiply these two. This time we have 2 plus 4i. We have to write all of this in parentheses this time because of this plus. And we're going to multiply this by our second number, negative 3 minus 5i. Okay, let's multiply this by multiplying each element of the first parentheses by each element of the second parentheses. So everything with the 4i here as well. So that we have 2 times negative 3, which equals negative 6. Then 2 times negative 5i gives us negative 10i. The same with the 4i. 4i times negative 3 equals negative 12i, and 4i times negative 5i. First the numbers, 4 times negative 5 equals negative 20, and then I times I equals I squared. Ooh, again, I squared, but now we know that we are allowed to replace this by negative 1. So let's do this, but we can simplify some things here as well, because here we have a part with an I and here as well. So we have the negative 6 at the beginning. Negative 10i minus 12i equals negative 22i. Then here we have negative 20 times, and instead of the I squared, because we don't want to have this in our form here, we write a negative 1. Then we have the negative 6. We have the I part, and negative 20 times negative 1 equals plus 20. And then we can simplify here the numbers so that we have negative 6 plus 20 equals 14. And at the end, the negative 22i. So we have the imaginary part here at the end and the real part at the beginning. And this is how to multiply complex numbers. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments. I wish you a wonderful day, and I hope to see you in one of my next videos. Take care!